Once again, we find ourselves here in Iowa City, just outside of Iowa City.
On a beautiful spring day.
It is a beautiful spring day, and I want to get to that. We're at Wilson's Orchard in Iowa City, just off Dingleberry Road.
Absolutely.
And tell them I'm not making that up. That's where you're located.
Not. And there's a story that the Dingleberry brothers lived right across the road here.
The Dingleberry brothers. We're going to stop everything because I want to hear all about the Dingleberry brothers.
Well, there's quite a story there. So they were two unmarried brothers. They lived across the road.
I think I know why they were unmarried. Keep going.
They were the hooch makers in the area.
Okay.
Yeah, during Prohibition, they ran the still that was very infamous in Johnson County. And at that time, they were building Highway 1 along here, and they called them mule skinners, the guys that built the road.
Okay.
And they would, it was just a mile down the road, and they would get down here and get the Dingleberry Brothers product, which was called Dingleberry Dew. That was the name of their product, Dingleberry Dew. I swear to God, I'm not making this up. And they got sideways with these mule skinners because the boss of the road team talked them into not selling to their team.
We're trying to finish a highway. Could you knock it off with the Dingleberry Dew?
I mean, we're going crazy.
Right. Highway 1 looks like this. It's not the best. We're way over budget because of you Dingleberry boys. So they made a deal.
Only on Saturdays would they sell to them. It pissed these guys off, so they turned them in to the government, and they came and smashed. They had two stills.
Oh no!
They smashed one. There's pictures of this in the public record, actually. And they smashed one. Where the other one is a matter of considerable controversy.
So much of the process of what you do and so much of what it tastes like is dependent on, again, the weather.
Yeah.
And we've been talking about the derecho event that happened. And you have some particularly harrowing stories of how that went here.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about how that went down?
So yeah, I mean, we were standing right there when it came, and like a bunch of dummies just kind of watched it go. But basically, so apple trees are grafted. A rootstock is grafted to a what we call a scion, and we lost a lot of trees that broke right at that union. And in fact, we grow them now on dwarfing rootstocks, which means we trellis them almost like grapes.
Okay.
It's kind of makes a wall, and there's high tensile strength wires that stayed in place. The post stayed in place, but the trees actually, the derecho was such that it spun the trees, and they actually twisted off, still attached to the wire, and they twisted it. Yeah, and we lost about 500 trees to the derecho.
I have to imagine you've never seen anything like that.
I've never seen anything like that. I mean, never. I mean,
Well,
I
this looks
just
like
had
someone grabbed it and twisted it.
Because we went out afterwards and we thought, well, the orchard looks pretty good.
Right.
It survived pretty good. And
Did you ride the storm out in here at the farm market?
Yeah, right there in the smokehouse right there.
No kidding. So how harrowing was that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was fairly harrowing, although, this sits just slightly below the top of the hill, and I think we didn't see the worst. I mean, there was trees and stuff blowing by us, but, I guess we were too dumb to know we were in danger, to be honest. So.
So you're surveying things after everything calms down.
And we're looking and we're saying, oh, everything looks pretty good. And then the next couple of days, we started to notice these trees are not doing well. And then we started looking and it's like, oh, this tree, it used to be here, and now the main part of it is shifted about 4 inches over.
So what does that mean to the overall picture when you lose 500 trees? That doesn't sound like it's nothing. That sounds like a pretty devastating loss.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't as bad. If we went 30 miles north of here, it would have been a lot worse. A lot of people lost. For us, we have 25,000 trees.
Right.
So, 500 is not nothing.
Right.
It takes a lot of money and time to get them up to berry.
Right.
But it wasn't, catastrophic.
So
But
knock on wood, it could have been a lot worse.
It could have been worse. We did lose a lot of fruit to the ground, and that was a much bigger financial loss, actually.
Right.
To us. And it was, unfortunately, there's one variety that we really like here for the fresh market, and it's what we call a shy bearer, and so it doesn't like to bear a lot of fruit. And for whatever reason, that year we had a big crop of them, and for whatever reason, they all shook loose. It kept blowing, and thankfully the building held. We didn't have any real damage to the building. We blew over a few grain bins and stuff, but that was about it. We consider ourselves very fortunate. You know, a lot of people suffered way worse than us. And so, you know, and the show goes on. And then you come out of derecho and into COVID, and that's a whole nother struggle.
Right.
So,
What can we expect? Give us a sneak peek.
Sneak peek.
I mean, you already told us last year was terrific weather-wise.
Yeah,
So
we had
the sight of the sun on store shelves now
we
is
had a weird year
fantastic.
last year, where, you know, normally in Iowa, for this particular latitude, we should have our frost-free date should be May the 10th. Okay, some people say May the 8th, some people say May the 10th. On May the 9th, we had a severe freeze here.
Right.
And we thought we lost a big chunk of the crop. You know,
Oh, no.
we were all kind of
no.
down in the dumps. But it turns out the trees came back with some other bloom and the damage wasn't as severe, even though at the temperatures we witnessed, 24 degrees, we should have had almost a complete crop loss.
Oh,
because
no.
they were just blooming. Or some slightly past bloom, actually. But for whatever reason, we didn't see the damage. And it's not just in Iowa. In Michigan, they had the same thing, and nobody really knows what went on or why that is, or, you know.
So something should have gone sideways and wrong, and it ended up
And it
not.
ended up being, for us, it
Yeah.
was the biggest crop we ever harvested.
Wow.
Yeah. And some of the more interesting flavors in the crop.
I feel like there's a bigger lesson, like a life lesson there. Like you thought for a time that all was lost, and it ended up being one of the best products you've ever gotten.
Well, I think that's a life lesson, but all the people that I work with think I'm just full of crap. You know, like, yeah, well, it'd be like him to say that, you know. Yeah.
Well, you're obviously doing something right out there, inside, and on the shelves, and at bars and restaurants everywhere. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Cheers.